I mean, the way I would suggest in terms of your, long-term growth plans online, just because that's my area of expertise. So
I
obviously
know it
that's
is, and I will download your brain immediately.
so where I would say is you've got two sides to it. You've got social media for what you're saying there in terms of getting ahead of the time, just giving
Yeah.
people, information and getting in front of the potential problem. And then you've got the Google side, which is more for people that already have a problem and are searching for what you do. So you kind of want to be visible on both, ideally, obviously budget permitting and sort of time permitting. But really, if you've got some really good content on social media that prompts people into the potential problems they could be run into, that's one side. And then really you can use things like your blogs within your website to also do that and obviously get ahead of the curve. And when people are searching for things on Google, and then you can even skip a step and you can use things like advertising on Google to get people that are looking for a HR consultant.
Smart. Do you know what I did have on my list as a business owner? I have a list that's got carried forward 6 months, and then another 6 months, and another 6 months. I did look at thinking about doing blogs, but I just wondered how often or regularly people really read them, or is it more for SEO?
For me, it's more for SEO, but where you could use it to help other areas is if you're writing blogs consistently on your website. That's when you can share things like that through things like LinkedIn and whatnot, and it kind of gives casts a bit more of a wide net rather than just relying on people finding you through SEO. But I do think really if the plan is longer term growth, you should really, now you're approaching 3 years, be thinking about SEO and thinking about how that looks long term.
Yeah.
Ideally, because if you're looking at Google, for example, the easy option for you if you want growth now is advertise and look for, getting clients. I know HR is a fairly good market for Google Ads just from experience and from having other people on there. But ideally, we don't want to be paying
Interesting.
every time someone clicks, right, forever. So if you can look at both options and figure out how that looks long term, that's definitely worthwhile doing. But I also do agree with you. I think social media would be good for you as well if it's done properly. And I would probably say, for me, social media would make sense more from a personal branding perspective for what you do rather than a business approach, because I don't think
You
advertising.
think, sorry, I'm just going to
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
before I forget, ADHD brain. I was like, quick, while you've got Ollie, download his brain. LinkedIn
Mhm.
versus Instagram. How do you find, does it depend on the industry? It's weird. I've got more clients from Instagram than I have LinkedIn, but then I haven't been using LinkedIn to its full capacity and I'm aware of it. I've been surviving and trying to look at growth because, the
Yeah.
economy last year was tough. Like it almost killed me.
Mhm.
It's brilliant now, and don't get me wrong, I've won a lot of new clients already this year,
Mm.
but I do need to utilize both. What
Yeah.
you think is better to spend the time on?
Oh, it's a very good question because it does
This has got to
depend
be
on the
about you
market.
as well, Ollie. We need to highlight your skill set too.
So it does really depend on who you're trying to hit, is the honest answer, because the target audience is the main difference between the two. I would say if accountants were your goal, and this accountancy is a really interesting one because it works both on Instagram and LinkedIn, especially the younger accountants tend and the newer sort of the new school tend to be using Instagram a lot. But obviously LinkedIn is quite an easy platform for growth as well. So it's almost ideally you want to be doing both, and you can
Okay.
almost it's just the content strategy might be slightly different across the two because obviously LinkedIn's a bit more serious, whereas Instagram's a bit more fun, right? So
I
it's a
don't know, I'll be
very
honest, I'm the same. My business is on authenticity. I'm the same on both. There's nothing I
okay.
wouldn't do or say on either because I just think then you're missing a trick to just be yourself. I think the
Mhm.
whole thing about Elysian is that all of us are just really authentic. I don't mean there's
Mm.
swearing on one and swearing on off. It's not about that. It's just about being real about situations and helping people with the solutions. So I know everyone says it is a bit more serious, or you've got the lot that go, this isn't Facebook, but you're never going to get rid of the people that comment that. Like you're
Yeah.
change the record. But yeah, to be honest with you, I'm exactly the same on both. I will share knowledge, but I will keep it fun, and there will be times when I'm really honest, you know. And I did a post recently. I just got so overwhelmed, my brain just shut down. So I just had so much on, but also I have so many ideas, and I get really frustrated with myself that I
Yeah.
can't just get my ideas out quick enough. And my brain, I just broke. I malfunctioned. I
I
literally
think with
malfunctioned.
social media, and especially personal branding, is a interesting one because definitely I think the hardest part is almost training your brain to it's more around the structure of how you do things rather than what you post. I feel like a lot of the time if you're thinking, all right, I've got to come up with a post today, it can almost take so much time and effort because you're like, what do I want to post? You know, it's almost like you get stuck in your own brain. At least I do when I don't plan ahead. So I think, yeah, posting across both makes sense. You can use the same information, the same
Yeah.
approach across both, but I'd say really planning it out and having a proper strategy works a lot better than almost winging it. Um, I've seen people succeed on both, but I think on the whole, I think it makes sense if you're going to look at social media, especially personal branding, really planning out how that looks over the next 6 to 12 months. Obviously, not saying we're going to post X on this day, because again, that's a bit unauthentic. But at least if you've got a general theme of what you're trying to achieve and the general idea of where you want to take the brand, that's when you'll start to see better results and quicker results.
Yeah, I'm down. As soon as I know my clients are looked after and client service is up here with a new consultant, I'm all over it. I actually
Yeah,
quite enjoy it when it's something I can focus on. But when I'm
yeah,
having to do it because I have to do it, my brain goes, mm-mm,
yeah,
I'm done. But yeah,
yeah.
with a
No, I
proper
get you.
content
Yeah,
strategy, you're right. You're
yeah.
right. I mean, you are right
So
because it's what you do.
I think on the whole that overall strategy would work for you. I think personal branding and then look at you can almost use other stuff like Google just to supplement what you're doing over here. It's almost like you use the social side as your proactive approach. So people, you know, you're going out there looking for business essentially, not in a right. I'm just trying to sell to people, but it's like I'm putting myself out there, and then use Google on the flip side of where people are looking for what you do. So you're almost tidying up on that side. So it's like push and pull basically. Um, so yeah, I think.